This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
Football season is over.
Football season's never over, Steven.
That's right, the XFL starts this Sunday.
Well, I was talking more like off-season stuff of free agency, but yeah, you're right. The XFL is starting.
XFL. And we are Battlehawks fans.
Yeah, we adopted the Battlehawks.
Battlehawks.
Mostly because Taylor Heineke's playing there. Might as well cheer for the guy.
Yeah, so look for our Battlehawks podcast starting next week.
No, there won't be.
All right. Super Bowl happened, and it was all right.
Yeah.
It was an okay game.
Yeah, I really didn't watch it.
Yeah. You were pushing a baby out.
I was not pushing. My wife was.
Your wife was, yes.
Yes.
That's how anatomy works.
We had a Super Bowl baby.
As predicted by one Stephen Costner.
Yes.
Several months back.
Yes, as soon as we told you the due date, you were saying she was going to be a Super Bowl baby, and she was.
Yep, she was.
So I really did.
A few days before the due date, so I didn't cheat.
No.
It wasn't obvious.
So yeah, I didn't really get to watch it because she had her later in the day, and I was finally able to start watching it right around the fourth quarter. I saw the Tyreek Hill or the interception where Tyreek Hill tipped it, and I thought the game was over. And then I kind of fell asleep just because I'd been up for almost 48 hours straight at that point. But I woke up and Travis Kelce touchdown, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna finish this," and it was a good ending.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole game right there. That's really all you needed to know. I mean, as usual, the Chiefs fell behind, came back and won, and Pat Mahomes got the MVP somehow. He probably didn't deserve it, but he's a quarterback, and that's what happens.
Think about this, though. Guy has started 2 years in the league. 1 year, NFL MVP. Second year, Super Bowl winning MVP. Even if he didn't get that MVP, I mean, Super Bowl win.
Yeah. But he got the MVP, so yeah, that's a hell of a start to a career.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else you can say, but, a lot of guys, they never get back, so we'll see. I think the Chiefs are set up pretty good for the future, though. But this is a Carolina Panthers podcast.
Yes.
So that is pretty much all we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. If you want to hear more Super Bowl coverage, there are like 10,000 other podcasts and TV shows and SportsCenter and all that stuff you can go to. But we're talking Panthers news here today, and there was some big news that came out this week. Greg Olsen announced that he will not be back with the Panthers. Originally said it was a mutual parting of ways.
Supposedly the Panthers were promoting it was a mutual parting of ways.
But he has since come out and said that that's not entirely the case.
Yeah.
And in fact seems to be visiting other teams and still wants to play.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking to me. I thought he was just going to go up in the booth, I
think we all did. That was kind of what we all thought was going to happen. But
I do have a quote from him. After the mutual parting ways, he said, "I never said that. I didn't want to be part of whatever future direction they are going. It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't in their plans. I don't want to rush into any hasty decision because my pride was hurt." That's kind of shocking. I know Tepper has mended a lot of fences since he's been here with Smitty and other former players. Mm-hmm. But this one looks like another one that's went sour.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this doesn't feel like the same as Smitty. Like, I don't think Olsen hates Carolina. I think that, and I think if Cam Newton leaves, then it'll kind of be like the writing's been on the wall, right? Like all the veterans are gone. Once Kuechly announced his retirement, it was just kind of time to reboot everything. So if Cam sticks around, then I think Olsen might be a little more upset by it because he loves Cam, loves playing with Cam. So we'll see kind of what the future is about that. But, I mean, it's surprising to me that the Panthers were so quick to kind of get rid of him. considering Ian Thomas is really the only guy on the roster right now that can play that pass-catching tight end role.
Yeah.
And he's not that good. So...
Well, you and I have different opinions on him. I don't say he's good, but I think he has potential. And I don't...
He hasn't proven that he could step into the, that main pass-catching role that Greg Olsen filled for so many years.
And Greg Olsen is 34, too. And let's be...
He is.
He's been very injury-prone lately.
He's not played 16 games since 2016.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't even passed... Let me see here. Oh, he has passed. Barely scratched 3,000 yards in the past 3 seasons put together.
Oh, no. Way less than 3,000.
I mean, 1,000. Again, yeah. I'm going on lack of sleep with a newborn. Give me this.
I think he's... I don't know if he's quite at 1,000.
He's right.
So he had 600, almost 600 last season, almost 300 the year before, and almost 200 the year before. So he's right around 1,000.
Yeah.
And then 7 total touchdowns. So you're right. I mean, he hasn't been...
He's averaging about 300 yards 340 yards per season the past 3 seasons. Yeah. Look, I love Olsen. We all love Olsen. But he hasn't been able to prove he could stay healthy in his older years. He's 34 years old. He's only averaging 340 yards per season. I get it from the organization standpoint. You might, because this is going to go into Ian Thomas's 3rd year. The whole team looks like it's pretty much rebuild now. So we might as well see what he has and go from there.
You're right. You're 100% right. I mean, looking at those stats, thinking about how much money Greg Olsen was going to make, I think this is going to clear. All right, here. Released by Carolina, clearing $8 million in 2020 cap.
$8 million. So, there you go.
Hey, $8 million's... that's a good amount.
So, I mean, clearing $8 million in cap for him, I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you don't even use it next year, you can roll it over. And I think that's what they're really going to do. They're really going to clear out some cap space, get some of this dead cap money off the books next year for, Greg Olsen. Luke, we have his dead cap money too. I mean,
yeah,
that's a hurtful one, but
yeah, I mean, dead cap versus what we would have paid him. I mean, we're still saving money. It's just a lot of dead money. But yeah, I mean, you're probably right. If this truly is going to be a rebuilding year where there's no hope for playoffs or anything like that, then just cut all these guys. I mean, I'm gonna honestly trade Cam if that's what it's going to be, and let's just start over. I mean, if this is going to be a 2 to 3 year rebuild, then there's really no need for Cam to be here either. And let's save that money, and let's in 2 years go hard at making the playoffs and kind of restart the franchise almost.
Now, moving back to Greg Olsen, since that we're talking about him, he's actually visiting the Buffalo Bills and Washington Redskins. First of all,
and Seattle.
And Seattle.
That was also announced.
I also heard the Patriots reached out too as well.
Well, that's not surprising at all.
No. So if he does go out, first of all, I don't want him to go to Washington because they're going to suck too. They're going to, at least with Buffalo, I would like to see him get a ring if we're not really in the Super Bowl contention. I would like to see him get a ring.
Yeah, Buffalo, Seattle, New England, all those would be viable places to where you could reasonably expect to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Buffalo is obviously, there's a lot of familiar Panthers up there in Buffalo, from front office to players. And then, in Washington even, I mean, he loves Ron Rivera. They were very close.
Yeah.
So I could see him wanting to finish his career playing for Ron Rivera. And maybe even being part of that, that veteran mentor role up there if that's what he wants to do. So I think it's going to probably come down to whoever's going to pay him the most money and where he thinks he can win.
Yeah.
That is what I would expect.
And supposedly he also has a standing contract for Fox Broadcasting too. So if he doesn't like the contracts or the situation, he can just go to broadcasting. I think it was $1 million per year.
He's got options.
Yeah.
He's got options. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I was sort of hoping that he might be in line for the Monday Night Football job, but it sounds like they're going hard at Romo,
Yeah.
offering something like $10 to $15 million a year for him or something. Just ridiculous money.
I heard 15 because I actually heard somewhere that said it was going to be more money than a lot of his seasons as a starting NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that's wild. But I mean, he's great. So obviously Olsen just starting out wouldn't be worth nearly that much. But $1 million a year seems a little low for me. I think Jason Witten was getting $4 million.
Yeah, but he had that Monday night gig, which he stunk at. But
yeah, it was terrible.
Another one. I wonder how much Booger McFarland's getting, because he's another one that's just awful.
Booger McFarland.
It's really bad when you listen to him and you're like, do you watch football? Like,
yeah. Well, he's a meme now.
Yeah. He talked about Christian McCaffrey. Recently he was on a sports talk show and they were talking about best running back in the league, and he goes, well, I want my running back to be able to run between the tackles, not just catch the ball. And Christian McCaffrey has one of the best run between the tackles averages.
Yeah, you're an idiot, Booger McFarland. Oh,
but he's getting paid.
Yeah. Back to Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
We keep veering away from Greg Olsen. So, in terms of his career with the Panthers, I mean, obviously, one of the best Panthers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
3 straight 1,000-yard seasons had never been done before by a tight end. Not even sure if it's been done since, although I'm sure Kelsey and Kittle will probably get there. But not even Gronk got there, with all of his health issues. So, for most of his career with the Panthers, really until the last 3 years, he was just an Iron Man. He was there every game. He was Cam's safety valve. He was very important. Of course, came over in the trade in 2011 with the Bears for a 3rd-round pick. Best trade the Panthers probably have ever made.
Easily best deal they have ever made or trade.
All that being said, I don't think at this point of his career he would be a Hall of Famer, just because a lot of the tight ends that came before him put up better numbers, won championships. That's probably the biggest knock on him, is he hasn't won a championship. And then there's just a long line of kind of pass catchers that are waiting to get into the Hall of Fame. So, that could be one of the reasons why he wants to extend his career a little, is to get a ring or two and really make a push for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think he's a bubble guy right now, in my opinion. Probably outside looking in. But you never know what can happen, especially if he gets a ring, puts up 800 to 1,000 yards, It would be very good for him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, so right now, Pro Football Reference has like a Hall of Fame monitor, and he's rated at a 38.6, which is 23rd among tight ends, and the average Hall of Fame tight end is a 90.3. So, I don't really know what those numbers mean, but it seems low. So I don't know that he's really got much of a chance at this point. Again, if his career's not over, then he's got plenty of opportunity. If he goes to New England and Tom Brady comes back and he's the new Gronk, then that's great for his Hall of Fame chances.
Oh, yeah. So. Winning rings will do that. I mean, Eli, if he didn't have those 2 Super Bowl rings, say he lost both Super Bowls, he wouldn't even be in the conversation of a Hall of Fame. He was a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he was average as average can be, honestly.
Yeah.
Greg Olsen, 3-time Pro Bowler. Those 3,000-yard season years, he was a Pro Bowler. So he'll be missed. I mean, it does feel, just another one of the stalwarts from the Rivera era, that are gone.
Yeah. We said he's not going to the Hall of Fame, but he's going to go to the Ring of Honor eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
and I'm sure he's going to definitely get into broadcasting when his career's over. He's got the pipes for it. He's got the look. He's got the knowledge. I mean, he's kind of made for post-career broadcasting. But if he decided he didn't want to, I'd love for him to be some part of the Panthers organization. Again, I don't think that's really realistic. But definitely a Panther Hall of Famer. And hopefully he stays kind of involved in the community, because that was really something that he's just a beloved Panther off and on the field.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he's
was
done
really a big part of the community.
Yep, done a lot of work with the Children's Levine Hospital.
Yeah, I saw his January 2020 started with his son having to have open heart surgery.
Oh.
And then, a couple of weeks later, he basically is told that he's not going to be welcome back to the Panthers. So, not a great start of the year for him.
No. So, do you have any final thoughts or anything else on Greg?
I mean, good luck to him. I'll be interested to see where he ends up next year. I kind of hope that it's in a broadcast booth, because I'd love to hear him call some games. I'd love to hear him call Panthers games. But if he ends up playing for, Panthers North or, the Redskins, I'll be interested to watch that as well. So just whatever he does the next few years, I mean, I'll be following him with interest. I really like Greg Olsen.
Yeah. Me too.
Greg.
I agree with you on all that. My last thoughts is, we're going to miss that so reliable tight end. I mean, you think about it, since like 2000, when did he get here? 2011.
2011.
So almost 10 years, we just had that solid tight end. And
yeah.
I don't think Panther fans remember not having that type of tight end here.
Yeah, I mean, he was... And sort of, in Chicago, like, he was good, but he wasn't great, right? His best season was 600 yards, 8 touchdowns. And that was, for the first 5 years of his career here with the Panthers, he was above that every year. So, I guess other than the first year where he was sort of playing a fullback tight end role, according to Pro Football Reference, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I remember that whenever we made the trade, I kept reading that Chicago just didn't use him correctly. That they were using him just strictly as blocking, wasn't really. I forget if it was Mike Mart's offense just didn't use the tight end. They used strictly wide receivers and running backs. So.
Well, even his first year with Carolina, he only started 13 games. He played in all 16, but he only started 13. So, even here, they weren't 100% sure about him. And I remember, you remember the Jeremy Shockey pairing with him? That was fun.
That was a blast. I was shocked we never brought Jeremy Shockey back the next year. He never played anywhere else. I think he had like 800 yards that year.
Yeah. Was that the first year that... We need to look up that too, because I don't remember what year that was. That was 2011 or 2012. Jeremy Shockey. But that
2011.
2011. So that's probably why there was only 13 starts. Because I'm sure Shockey got 3 of those starts.
Mm-hmm.
That was his last year. That's why he just retired after that year.
No, we didn't sign him, but he said he wanted to come back, and we never signed him.
So he had with 37 receptions, 455 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So maybe not quite as good a statistical season as we thought, but he was fun.
Yeah, I remember having both of them line up though, and thinking, who are you going to cover for the tight end? Like, because both of those guys can block and both can catch.
Yeah, I mean, between the two of them, they had over 1,000 yards. So.
540 and 3?
540 and 455.
Oh, okay.
So, right at 1,000 yards.
But we're going to miss him.
We will miss him. I'm going to miss that. I mean, the Panthers team of the last decade is gone, basically.
Yeah.
Once they pull the trigger on Cam and all the writing's on the wall, that's it.
I still don't know if we're getting rid of Cam.
Cam, did you hear the quotes from Cam at the Super Bowl?
No, I haven't been able to.
So he went, I guess, for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, just in case he won, which he didn't, unfortunately. But he did some interviews, and he said to one of the interviewers, I don't remember who it was, but essentially he said that he had talked to Tepper, he had talked to Matt Rule, and he talked to Marty Herney, and that he was absolutely going to be back, starting for the Panthers this year. So, I don't know.
I can see. I still think he's going to do it. I think he's going to be back here.
I think a lot's going to depend on when he gets out there in March and gets out there and actually throws, and is able to run around a little bit. And if he looks like Cam of old, he's still in his young 30s.
Yeah.
At that point, do you go ahead and give him the year? If he has a good year, you sign him to a contract. I mean, franchise quarterbacks are hard to find.
Yeah, and you can sign him, and if you can transition him into a less mobile, less power running quarterback, not taking away his scrambling and the occasional run, but not power run up the middle quarterbacks, he can have another 5-6 years without too much injuries if his shoulders hold up, if his Liz Frank holds up. I mean,
he needs to sort of transition into a Russell Wilson type of quarterback, where you use your mobility to extend plays, but not necessarily run downfield and take hits.
Or if you want to go, because Wilson still runs a good bit. I would say Donovan McNabb. If you look towards the ending of his career, it was a complete night and day, where he basically only scrambled to save time to throw the pass or get a first down and slide.
Yeah, I mean, Wilson doesn't run as much as you think. Like, he ran for 342 yards this year, 376 last year, 259. I mean, he's just not running a lot.
Okay.
But he's running to kind of extend plays, basically. So, I mean, if Cam averaged 300 rushing yards a year, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I do too.
Think that's fine.
I mean, he is a special player because of his running, but I also think he has arm talent if he could be healthy.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and Joe Brady seems to scheme players open. And last year, that was our problem. We were having open receivers but we just weren't getting them. I can't speak. That we weren't getting them the ball. Kyle Allen couldn't, and Will Greer looked awful.
That has unfortunately been, one of a knock on Cam is the inability to consistently hit the open receiver. Consistently, often overthrows. But, the beginning of 2018, he was extremely accurate. Of course, they really dialed back, where he was throwing the ball. He wasn't really throwing past 10 yards very much. But we were winning, so that you can win that way in this league. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's real quick, let's talk about this past Panthers season.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Obviously, the season is over. This Super Bowl is done. I'd like to go and look kind of back at our favorite moment or moments of the 2019 Panthers season. I think you have a few more than I do, so I'm going to start. My favorite moment and we're going positive here, right? 2019 was a tough year, but let's look at the things that really made us happy. The thing that made me the happiest was the London game. Getting up early, going over to your